Hi guys, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we have my September wrap-up. So I've mentioned this in a couple videos, but after having my son, I didn't really read very much. Like, I took the entire month of August off. And so I have been slowly getting back into reading and figuring out how to exactly do that while I have him constantly. I mean, obviously this is a 24/7 job, staying at home, taking care of him. And so when I do have time for myself, I've been trying to get back into reading. I read a total of 6 things this month, which I think is pretty darn good. So the first 3 items are actually... So the first 3 books that I read are actually a trilogy by Tate James. They are the 3 books in the Royal Trials trilogy. The first book is Imposter, the second book is Seeker, and the third book is Heir. I gave all 3 of these books 4 out of 5 stars. They are reverse harem books, which means that there are going to be multiple love interests in these books for our main character. And basically what we have here is a character who grew up as an orphan, sort of on the slums in this magical, or should I say used to be magical world. It appears that we used to have magic, and there are some people in the royal family that still do have magic, but overall the world has been sort of declining. There is not really much magic. There are bad things that have been happening. The area that our main character, Ribbit, lives in is called the Pond, and it's sort of, I think it used to be a good area, and then it just really fell into disarray, disuse. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now, but it's not a very good part of town. Basically, if you're a female orphan there, you either have to be a pickpocket, and you really only get to do that for a little bit of your life, except for Ribbit has done it for longer, or you become sort of a prostitute. So, not a very good life. Well, after a pickpocket gone wrong for a younger companion of Ribbit's, she ends up trying to help him, and instead gets taken into the royal palace and mistaken basically for a princess who has shown up for the royal trials. The royal trials are a series of trials for the, I guess, princesses of the kingdom, for the princes there to try to find their going to be queen. There is lots of there is lots of magic and mystery and death, and it's a very well done, fast-paced sort of book, especially for the first one. We do get a lot more lore going on in the second 2 books. None of these were a full 5 stars, only because some of the plot points were really predictable, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but when it seems like it should also be predictable for the people in the story, and the author has it written in a way that they obviously don't know what's going on, it just sort of felt like we as the readers were getting hit over the head with some information that should have also been very, very obvious to everyone else. In the second book, the author tries to give a little bit more, like, it's a magical backstory as to why Ribbit doesn't understand certain things in the first book. But again, that was my biggest complaint, really. Everything else was pretty good. There's definitely a cliffhanger at the end of the second book. However, all 3 books in the trilogy are out, and so I basically waited until the 3rd book was released, which was released in September, so that I could just marathon them through, because I knew there was a cliffhanger at the end of the second one. Again, really, really fun stories. I've had some people comparing it to Throne of Glass, and I've read the first book of Throne of Glass. I do feel like there are some similarities, but overall I didn't think the vibe was exactly the same. It's more story tropes that have been shared between those series. But if you like Throne of Glass, you might like this one because of those story tropes. I also participated in round 5 at the Contemporary-a-thon. I will leave my vlog linked down below in case you guys are interested in that. It is quite a long vlog because with him now, I feel like I'm wanting to video and capture a lot of things, and I just put everything I would want in a vlog in that one, so if you want to watch it, enjoy. But I did read 3 things during that Contemporary-a-thon. The first book was Happy For You by Anita Sunday. I ultimately gave this book a 2.5 stars. I have read other books by Anita Sunday, specifically her Signs of Love series, and really enjoyed those books. Like, I want to say, I don't think I gave any of those books less than 4 stars. However, the story that we have for Happy For You is the 3rd book in her, I think it's Love and Family series. You do not have to read these books in order because they do follow completely different couples in each one. This one was a sort of a used to be friends, had a falling out, going to lovers sort of thing. The biggest issue I had is that we did feel like we started in the middle of a storyline. Basically, there was a whole bunch of backstory to these characters and their families that we didn't know because we didn't get to see it happen at the beginning, but also they didn't really go into it. We were just supposed to accept at face value that they had this backstory. Also, the 2 characters that we're basically following throughout the series, Felix and Mort, I really liked Felix and I liked his point of view, and I could definitely see his side of the story. His was more of like, I had been pining for this guy for a while, and I really wish that the point of view of the story was just from Felix, because Mort, who was our 2nd character, his point of view was, again, sort of felt like it was jumping in the middle of things that we should have been seeing, him changing his feelings from, you know, a previous crush to Felix, and it was just a lot happening that we didn't actually get to see. It just felt like it was a lot of off-screen things, and I didn't like reading points of view from Mort either, so that didn't really help. It was not a bad story, but because of those issues, I did not enjoy it as much as her other works. I will still read from her because I do like a lot of her stories, but this one just didn't really fit with me, I guess. And then the other 2 books that I read for the Contemporary-a-thon were That Blue Sky's Feeling Volume 1 and 2 by Okura. These are manga. And this story follows Noshiro, who is a new boy at school, finding out that there is a rumor going about his classmate Sanada that he is gay. And basically this is a coming-of-age sort of story between these 2 characters and their friends. I ultimately gave both of these books 4 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy the first one better, and I have read this one previously, which is why I picked up the second one. There was nothing necessarily wrong with the second one. It was just the characterization I don't think moved as far along as it could have. We were introduced to new characters that I did enjoy, but at the same time I felt slowed down the relationship between these 2 boys. And by relationship I mean friendship as well, because we do find out in the first book quite early that Sanada is gay, but Noshiro, I want to say, is probably going to be like demisexual or something, because he does not know exactly how he feels about Sanada. He definitely wants to be friends with him, but there is a potential for him to want something more, but he is very confused. I did enjoy these, especially because of the sort of coming-of-age soul-searching within our characters. And this is something that is set in Japan, so I do also like the idea of these type of stories there. One thing I will say, and the reason that the first book is not a 5 stars, is there is a character in here who is much, much older than our boys that are in high school. These boys in high school, I want to believe, I think they said they were juniors, so probably like 16 or 17. But there is a character who is 26, who is sort of a mentor for Noshiro at some parts, and that part I'm fine with, but he is also the ex-boyfriend of Sanada, and that's a 10-year gap with kids in high school, and that I can't really get behind. So if the story did not have that aspect, the relationship and the characterizations of these characters, especially in the first book, would definitely be a 5 out of 5 stars for me. I do not like that aspect of the book though. And then in the second book though, that character is barely there, maybe 1 scene, so I didn't have to worry about that as much, and I definitely appreciated that. I think I read that the 3rd volume of this is coming out sometime later in October, so I will be getting that shortly, and I'm very excited to see exactly where the series is going to go. So those were all of the books that I read in September. Like I said, this is definitely a learning curve, trying to figure out how to balance him and me, and as you guys can see, he got cranky very near the beginning of this video, and I needed to hold him. So definite learning curve here, but I got 6 things read, and I was very excited for that. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what you read this month. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up Mondays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye! Oh. Did you want to come and join me? You want to come and join me?